All right, so week 4, we are doing push-ups. In order to do a good push-up, you must have a good plank because you start in plank, you go to low plank, you come back to high plank. So it's a very plank-oriented movement. So as far as movement training, this falls into our holds category because we're working on stability and resistance of unwanted movement. So what we're gonna practice is a couple of different things about plank that can make this better. One thing that tends to happen with plank when we're holding it for a long period of time is we tend to sort of shrug forward. So folks from the side may look kind of like this, and that stacks the joints and it allows the bony structures to be supporting us. But we're doing plank as an exercise to practice scapular and trunk stability. So we'd like to be in a position to require the muscles to do that. So we're gonna try to focus on what we would call a perfect plank. The first component of that is scapular control. And I'm going to show you in this position. Imagine that I'm on my forearms in plank. If I'm going to protract my shoulders, that means rounding of the upper back, my elbows kind of press into the ground. My upper back would kind of look like it's rounding. What happens is my shoulder blades are sliding forward, and that activates the serratus anterior and the other shoulder, some of the other shoulder stabilizers. Then if I retract my shoulders, they come back toward each other. So the shoulder blades will feel like they're sliding toward the spine and maybe even bump into each other in some of us as we come back. Protraction and retraction. And I'm trying to do that just through my shoulder blades and not through my spine. It's not flexion and extension of the spine that gets us there. It's just movement of the shoulder blades. Okay? So my suggestion is to have, you could have people just practice that with their arms. Reach forward, reach back. That's unloaded. It's a weird movement. A lot of people want to move their shoulders and their elbows while you're doing that. All it is shoulder blade press forward, shoulder blade squeeze back. Doing it up against a wall can be helpful. You could have weight in your hands, like be supporting your weight in your hands. Have your hands up on a box, or hands could be on the floor. You could be in quadruped or in plank and work on that. So in that case, it would look like this. I'm going to show you from this side so you can see what's happening. My head comes toward the floor, but just because my shoulder blades are moving, then my shoulder blades go the other way. Protraction, retraction, protraction, retraction. And that should be nice and smooth and controlled. If I can do it in this position, where there's obviously a lot of support for my body weight, because this is making it easier, then I could try the whole thing in plank. By the way, to do good push-ups, you should be able to do that serratus press in your push-up position. If your hands are up on a box, be able to do it there. If your hands are on the floor, your knees are on the floor, be able to do it there. If you're doing a push-up that we call a Kaya level push-up, with the hands on the ground and the toes on the ground, shoulders, hips, and knees in a straight line, you should have that control first, then you can work on your push-up. Without that control, a push-up becomes a problematic thing for shoulders. So that's why I want to practice serratus control, protraction, retraction in plank and in supported positions first. So we work on that for a little bit. After that, we're going to work on plank. So I'm going to move this down so that you guys can see my sunshine on my floor and also what happens with my shoulders. So if I'm in plank and I'm just hanging here, it tends to start to look like this, right? We want the hips to be up in line with the shoulders and the knees, and we're going to practice serratus press here. We're also going to practice pulling the elbows toward the knees. You can see that all that did is shift me forward a tiny bit, but it fires up my entire anterior chain. Everything from my lats that started that pull down the front side of my abs and into my hip flexors and adductors. So you're here once you get in perfect plank, and you're just going to say gentle pull, elbows toward your toes. Then gentle press, elbows away from your toes. Pull, press. So it's just a tiny shifting of the weight, but it makes a huge difference in how effective the plank can be. So to prepare for our push-ups, we are going to do serratus press, protraction and retraction of the shoulder blades, and an anterior chain activation in plank. I want you to have your ladies do this in whatever position they're going to be in to do their push-ups. You could have them all practice it in a very supported way, hands on the bars or on high plyo boxes, or definitely with knees on the floor, whatever feels most convenient to your workout that day. But have them start it in a super supported position and then add layers of difficulty to it for those that you see it appropriate for. So, and then hopefully their push-ups will be awesome. Have some fun.